If owning your own home is the great American dream, then having that home custom designed and built is the ultimate real estate experience. And here in the greater Philadelphia area, the name Dakota Delineation is an outstanding example of a design-build firm that specializes in custom homes and large additions and renovations. The company president, Michael Zimmer, is not only the architect, he is also the contractor who builds the homes that he designs according to his client specifications. And as we discovered, there are many distinct advantages in working with a design-build firm. In a fascinating conversation with Michael here at his Pennsylvania countryside retreat, we learned a lot of fascinating details, including where the name Dakota Delineation actually came from.
We've been in existence since 1990. The specialty is design-build. In other words, clients come to us looking for the design of a large custom home or a large addition and or renovation to their existing structure. As design builders, we are able to work with them in a way that allows us to suit their needs and fit a budget, because on a regular basis as a designer, I can gain pricing information from the people that I work with every day in the field actually building the project.
Over the years, when I have had customers who are interested in a particular house, but they're not quite sure if it's going to work for their needs, then I always suggest that they consult with Michael. His ideas have been invaluable over the years, and customers feel comfortable with him. And so I can introduce them and then I step back. It's been an excellent way for me to have my customers feel comfortable with a particular property that I will show them.
How did you become a builder?
I have spent my life around construction. And when I graduated from college, I spent 3 years working as a carpenter because I wanted to know intimately how things went together. And I really quite enjoyed it. I loved working in the field. It was a great good time actually assembling projects. As a matter of fact, at that time, I would design things in the evening and go out the next day and build them during the day. And I learned quite a few things. I threw a lot of curves away out of my drafting kit after the first few years. Obviously, curves can be put into structures, but they do cost something and they are more complicated to build. My time in the field served me well in design, and at the same time, it served me well in learning how to assemble the proper structure of a firm that could assemble the products that I had designed into what I was looking for in that design.
One of the things that my husband and I enjoyed so much about Michael was he would just keep coming back as many times as he thought we needed to decide what it is that we wanted to do to the property. And then every time we gave him a suggestion of what we would like, he would come back and the information was retained exactly the way we had asked him to. So our experience was that we were moving forward on a regular basis. We didn't get stuck anywhere. The other part that I really enjoyed about Michael and his group was they were very cautious. They would say, you know, if you spend this much money here, you may not have enough money to do this section or that section. So they were very economical. In fact, I was sort of saying, can we expand the economics here in this room or in that room? And he would sort of say, are you sure you need it? Are you sure you need it? And so that was very different than other people's experience of planning a house.
One of the key aspects of our design process is a guarantee that we make to our clients that when we are finished with the design, the budget that we establish through the design process will be met in the construction phase. Now, obviously, I can't do that, and that promise really is worth little if we don't follow through, if we don't have a reputation for producing on the construction end. In order to do that, we work with another sophisticated program in computers. We work with a critical path process that allows us to follow through with one task after the other in the construction sequence and meet a schedule on the construction process as well. We also work with nothing but a cadre of subcontractors that we have worked with for years and years. These are well-skilled, well-trained people who have been indoctrinated in our process to ensure that they function in a timely fashion, that they produce work that is of the highest quality, and that they, particularly the sites where we have clients living in additions at the same time, they meet our requirements for job site behavior, proper dress, proper language, control of music. In other words, we have over the years worked towards a construction system that in every way lives up to what we try to establish as a quality procedure in the design process.
And what about working with the budget? Obviously, that's something you have to pay a lot of attention to.
Most people, or literally every client I work with, is concerned about the budget. It's one of their primary concerns. So my initial step is to establish a budget, and I initially call it a feasibility study. I take my estimating program that I use and go line by line, and even with just a verbal description of what is trying to be accomplished, I will estimate the potential cost of each item in the project, from porta potty on the site all the way down to cleaning out the house at the end. Concrete footings, block work, carpentry, whatever it may be. And I will guess at each number. And then I will put in a multiplier and say this is my degree of uncertainty depending on quantity of materials, type of materials, whatever. And that multiplier will establish a second higher number. I will total those two columns and tell them this is what your budget looks like, somewhere between here and here. As the design proceeds, we take loops where we will meet and discuss this budget. That's the first step, this feasibility budget where I simply guess. Then we will move into what we want the design to be. And then I will prepare an initial design. I'll do this on the computer so that we can review that carefully. Then I will then go do some repricing, and we'll meet with the client again and say, here's where we stand with the design. Here is where the numbers are moving, whether they're coming together or expanding, and then we will tweak the design again. As time goes on, as a part of the budgeting process, I will take my drawings and discuss the details with subcontractors and material suppliers and get actual hard pricing, so that as we go through this looping process of meeting, redesign, pricing, meeting, redesign, pricing, we're circling and closing in on that ideal project that meets that budget. In the end, we have the design that they want, and we've hit the number that they can afford. I'm very comfortable in this environment. Very comfortable with the people, very comfortable with the processes that are involved. And needless to say, understanding those thoroughly allows me to prepare designs that are most cost-effective. I know how to put things together that can be assembled in a cost-effective way.
Well, Mike and his team at Dakota Dawn create a very friendly and comfortable atmosphere. You see what you're going to get beforehand, and the process couldn't be any easier. You know the budget ahead of time, what each piece costs and how it fits in. And again, the process and the experience was, very, very good. It's my dream house, to be honest with you. It's something I always wanted to have, and talked to Mike and gave him some concepts of what I wanted, and he was able to capture it exactly the way I wanted. It turned out fantastic. I love it.
The Red House is one of my current favorites. That started out as we've sort of overlaying a contemporary on top of a contemporary. The house was a 50s or 60s vintage single story, although you had a walkout basement, it was a single story home. I was asked by the client to come up with something very creative, and the client had quite a creative bent herself and was looking for something out of the ordinary. So again, we sat and we discussed, where does the sun set? Where do you want to be? Do you entertain a lot? What do you want to be looking at when you entertain? We discussed how they cook and how in the evenings when they do entertain, where do they want people to be? We did open it up on the inside, as you can see in the pictures, and to the point where we have a large area in front of a fireplace, which is made cozy by a low ceiling. And then we go into a breakfast room where the ceiling sweeps up, and we have a two-story half rotunda or half glass circle that you look out upon the trees through. The house also has a rather amazing aspect of its master bathroom. And I must admit that the client pressed for this idea quite a bit herself. We have a shower that opens up literally to the sky. We have run the tile all the way through the ceiling structure, through the roof structure, right up to the bottom edge of the glass skylight, so that as you look up from the shower, you see nothing but sky above.
And what is it that separates this company, your company, from the others out there who do similar things?
First of all, there's a separation between myself and other architects, or I should say design builders in general, and architects who operate independently. Many people would say that the ideal arrangement for doing a construction project is to hire an independent architect who will prepare the design, and then you're able to take that set of drawings and that specification that you gain from that architect to several contractors to obtain an independent pricing so that you can, a competitive pricing rather. The difficulty with that is independent architects do not have a close relationship with anybody that is able to price their project as they design it. Therefore, the problem frequently is that their projects wind up coming in well over budget, and they have to go through a laborious redesign process after the client finds out that it is now 50 or 60% over budget. In design build, we're pricing as we go, and therefore we develop a design as we go that is going to fit the budget. That's the big difference, design build versus standard design. I think the big difference between Dakota Dawn Delineation and other design build firms is the degree to which we explain the details and search out the details with our clients.
In fact, I considered selling it and doing another house just because it was so much fun. And we thought that was a little crazy, but I was about ready to get carried away with another one. So it was great.
Perhaps the greatest thing I want them to know and to realize is how concerned we are about providing them with what they want. That we don't have any other image of what's to happen with their project. I'm not starting out with any preconceived notion about what is to happen on their project. What it becomes is what they want it to be. And I'm going to work tirelessly to form that project into their dream.
The story of Dakota Dawn Delineation, a design-build firm that specializes in helping homeowners' dreams come true. I'm Doug Llewellyn, reporting from the suburbs of Philadelphia, PA.